Welcome back to From the Bench, everybody. As always, I'm Eric, and today we're back with episode 2 of Guide to Grading in 2021. First episode, we went over a couple of things. What cards you're going to pick, what players you're going to pick. Is it going to be for personal collection or PC, or are you looking to make some money off this? Whether it's short term or long term, there's things you got to consider, right? If you're doing it for your PC, just grade whatever you want. Depends what you want. Again, depends on what you want to do for certain grading companies, everything else, because there is price differences. That's all in episode 1. But if now you said, look, I still want to get a high grade on whatever it is, whether it's for PC, whether it's for money or anything else, how am I going to get the best grade possible on the card I'm looking at? So you're looking at 4 things. Certain things aren't going to give you. PSA doesn't give you subgrades. SGC doesn't give you subgrades. Beckett, you can get it with or without. So like that one doesn't have it. This Beckett does. Or, something like HGA that I went with last time, it'll give you subgrades too. So the 4 things that make up your grade are the following. So you get your centering, your edges, your corners, and your surface. So those 4 things right there are how a company decides what you're going to get for a grade on your card. So now you've picked the player, you've picked your Zion, you picked your Justin Jefferson, your Nathan McKinnon, whatever it's going to be. And now you're like, okay, I want to decide I got one of them or I got 2 of them. Is it worth to send this one out or is it not? So you can have lots of different things that make up your decision. One of the things I always go off of first is the centering. So this one here, this Tim Stutzel, got a 10 for the centering. So pretty happy about that, obviously. And how did I decide that one was going to get a 10? So I'm a Colorado fan. I know you probably can't tell because I'm wearing a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey. Sidney Crosby, he's a Maritimer. I'm allowed to. I also got Nate over there. So I can wear Sid. They're buddies. But I have these 2 Bowen Byhams here. So I have one out at HGA right now. It's in my next submission. We'll see what I get for a grade on that. But if I had these 2, I'm going to try to decide which one I'm going to grade. So right off the bat, one of the easier things to tell is the centering. So whether you're buying a card off of Instagram or eBay or Facebook or wherever you're going to buy it, even just in person at like a trade show or something, how are you going to pick out what card you want to buy? What I always go off of first is centering because it's a little bit easier. So on this one, it would not pass my visual eye test on centering. So how are you going to figure out centering? On a young gun, especially this year, you're going to look for over here where the position is. So this one's obviously the D. The edge of that right there, the space between there and the edge of the card, and then the first letter of their name. So the Bowen Byram. So you can tell this is a very small distance over here, and this is way more. When you compare it to something like this, and this looks pretty even right there to right there. Those look similar. So that's one of the things you're going to look at first. So if I want to go and check something, obviously I can tell this one's off center. But say this one, I'm like, okay, it looks pretty good. Maybe I'm off a little bit. How am I going to check it? You're going to get one of these. And this is, if you want to, you don't have to. If you think you can just do it by eye, all power to you. But I'd get one of these. And this is a grading tool. You can get them off eBay or anywhere. You're talking probably like, I don't know, $10 like they're pretty cheap. Overall, they come with this, which is just a piece of plastic that has some numbers on it and some lines, and then as you can see, numbers, lines, then you're going to get one of these. So this is your grading chart percentage. So you're looking, when you're doing this grading, the numbers around when you kind of make the box out of it to figure out the centering, you're looking to have them show up in bold. So on young guns, you're looking to get 3s all the way around. Now, if you get a 3.5, something like that, 3.5, 2.5, you might be able to push it and still get a 9, something like that. But if you went and got a 4 and a 2 for the centering, you're not going to get that 9. So that's the big thing you're going to be looking at. So if I grab this, and I'll just show you guys how to do it real quick. So this is the one that has the better centering of the 2 Bowen Byhams. So I would just take it, put it up in front of it. You're going to line up the edges on the black right here. And then you're gonna look at stuff. So I usually go off of, say, the letter. So you're talking the B right there. It's pretty much on the edge of that. Probably move this over, right? And then on the D, you're right there for the 3 again. So this one should probably get pretty good centering for that. But you also want to check the top to bottom centering. It's not just left to right, which everybody looks at. You're also looking at top to bottom. So this card here, you're looking for the tip of that upper deck logo, and that's a 3 right there. And the bottom, you're looking around the, I think the bottom of the G. So you're getting pretty good there. That one would be a pretty good centering compared to something like this one, which you're talking, once again, if I line this up, talking a 2 over here on the B. You're talking a 4 over here, 4 plus on that on the D there. So that one's not good centering and whatnot. If you're looking for something else, so you're looking for a Tua. So I actually had a Tua graded, and I had 2 base Tuas. So why did I pick this Tua over this Tua? Now, first off, you guys can kind of tell the centering on this one isn't the best. So on these ones, you're looking for the centering. You're looking from the black edge to the edge of the card. So you can obviously tell this one has more space of the card compared to this one. Now, if I check out this card, it's the same thing. It's not centered perfectly, not by any stretch of imagination. So there is more space over here. I think it's slightly less than what this one has. But same thing, you get some, obviously, a difference between left and right on this one. The big thing, which why I think I went with this one over the other one, was because this one also has the issue top to bottom. So look at the space on the upper part of it compared to the space on the lower part of it, right? So if I take out that grading tool again, put it in front of it, line that up real quick, let me go. So there's a 4 on the black there, a 2 on the bottom, a 4 on there, and a 2 on there. So I know right away that's not going to get a good centering grade. That's going to finish outside. That's going to give me like probably like an 8.5 on the centering. There's no point of doing that. When you're doing this stuff too, you got to check the back too. Sometimes the center can be perfect on the front of the card. You go to the back of the card, it's bad. So you got to check out front and back. So this one, if you look at it real quick, you can kind of same thing tell the top to bottom centering is actually pretty good, where the left to right is off. So that's probably why I went with this one. And this one I'm getting a 9 on the centering, and probably because the top to bottom kind of saved it. So now I've checked out the top to bottom. I've checked the centering out, decided, okay, look, the card I got, it should fit in to that 60-40. Grading idea that I'm looking for to get a 9. What's the next thing I'm looking at? So same thing, easily visual things that I look at, and this is what I looked at when I'm looking at buying a card before I knew about the whole centering thing, is the corners. Corners, you're looking for a bunch of different things. Obviously, not a rounded corner. If you find a rounded corner, that is bad. You obviously don't want to see a bent corner or anything like that. If you guys check out one of my last few videos, I think it was a hobby box of series 1 that I opened. I had a Pavel Francouz, which is a goalie for the Avalanche, and the corner was literally like, had a chunk out of it. So I brought out a couple cards though. So we got Dylan Cousins. I graded a Dylan Cousins. Why did I grade the Dylan Cousins I graded instead of this one? That one actually got 3 9.5s and a 10 on it. This one here, as you can kind of tell, and it's going to get into the next part too, but has a little white spot there on the corner. So right there, that would be an issue with the corner. Now, like I said, you're looking to make sure they're sharp corners. So that's one of the main things you're looking for, is just sharp corners all the way around. But you also don't want to have any of these little whitenings. So that's the most common thing that you'll find on these modern cards. Obviously, if you go with something older, you can find other issues. But you're always looking for that little whitening. So this one's a little bit difficult because you have some white speckles and stuff. But same thing, you're just looking. This one's kind of got a little bit of a white tip on that corner too. It's the same front and back. So same thing with this one. Like a Broberg. A little bit of white corner there. This one's a little bit more noticeable. So you're always going to be looking for that kind of stuff when you're looking at corners. And these are things that are kind of easier to tell as long as the person that you're buying the card off of, if it's online, gives you good pictures. the pictures aren't good, ask for good pictures of the card. I don't know, more people should do it. I don't know what some of these people are doing. This is Quinn Hughes, same thing. I think the centering's off a little bit too, but you're looking at corners. This one's the same thing, just a little tiny tinge of a white there. But especially having it on two corners, that would be enough for me to say, look, no, I'm not going to grade this card because I don't want to take the chance. Now, some cards are going to be harder because you'll have like white on the background. Those are going to be harder to tell if there's bad corners just from like a picture and stuff. But that's the main thing I look at when I'm looking at, grading a card. Now we're past those things. Those are the two easier things to tell when you're looking at a card. It's just centering, especially once you get the eye for it, you can tell really quickly what you're looking for, especially on certain cards. Corners, like I said, just zoom in if you have to on the corners, but those are the two big things I look at first, and then I kind of continue this. So what's the next thing you're looking for? Edges. This one, I don't know if I have any edges that came out at 10. Most of my edges actually came out not too great, but this one is a Peyton Krebs. It came out at 9.5. So this one's actually got some pretty good edges on it. You're pretty happy with that. Every card's different. Every card is going to give you different edges and what you're looking for. So I find on these, and you kind of see it earlier on this Dylan Cousins, on these cards, they're just on a paper stock, right? So they're not, when you have something like a prism, like this is more of a foil card, right? So you're going to have other issues on these than you would on these. So these paper stock cards, if you look here, you're going to have a rough cut. Okay, so that's what you're kind of looking for on the edges of this. You see how that's kind of all raised up along the top edge? It's not as smooth. Like if you look at this edge, you can kind of tell it's pretty smooth, right? Looking for other stuff too, like paint, just color chipping off and stuff on these, especially on the bottom of these Young Guns. Some of them are a little worse than others, but you're just looking for like chipping and whatnot. But I find all these paper stocks, you get these like just, look at that cut line. It's not great at all. So this edge wouldn't grade, especially you look right over his helmet. That wouldn't grade well at all, for the edges. And like I said, you're not going to find everything perfect on a card. Well, you might. But some of these you got to decide what you think, and maybe if it's one spot on an edge that's bad, you decide to do it. One whole edge, the whole top edge of this, I probably wouldn't do it. I think this one had the same kind of issue. Yeah, so you're just looking at edges, looking for chipping off, all this other stuff. But that's the main thing. So if you go over to like a prism card, same thing on these ones, looking for a couple things. You can still have, move these around in light. That's what I tell a lot of people. And while I'll get into the next thing we have here, you're just going to look. So even this edge, you can kind of tell it's not quite clean. It's a little bit kind of lifted and stuff. So you're always just looking at a card. Move it in the light, move it in different angles, check the front and the back. I know these ones here, sometimes there's a little more whitening on these edges. You can kind of see it a little bit more here even. So that edge is a little bit worse. Now this is in a top loader, so it's a little hard to see. Always take them out of a top loader. If you have them in a penny sleeve, pop them out. Kind of really get an idea. You can tell too with some of this stuff. This is a Kenneth Murray, everyone's favorite card from a Charger break this year. Not really. He is for mine, but you're always just looking to see different things. So the next thing you're looking at is surface. So how are you going to find the surface? Now, a surface, you can sometimes see a little bit of stuff on an actual video or picture and stuff, but sometimes it's hard to see. So what are you going to do? Now we had the one tool, we had the grading tool here. What are you going to do for the other tool to see the surface? Everyone does different things. Like I said, I always recommend, and what I did forever was I just grabbed a card, and like I just did there, you're moving it up, taking it out of here, taking out of the sleeve, everything else. And I'm just going to take it out here. That's been in there for a bit. I'm going to take it, and you're just going to move it under the light. And you're going to see if you can find any issues, whether it's a print line, whether it's a dimple, whatever it is, you're going to try to find something. Do it front and back. I have a Joe Burrow that I'm sending in. Has a little bit of print lines. This one's nothing too bad. Kind of see a little bit of print lines there. If you kind of move it in the right light, right there, kind of underneath the 9, the 1 of his there, you can kind of see a little bit of print lines. It's not too bad, but you're always just going to move these around to see. What a lot of people do, especially if you're grading a whole lot, you get a magnifying glass. And that way you can actually check to see the whole card. You're going to look at all that stuff. So that Zion actually got a 10 on the surface, so that means it's a perfect surface, front and back. But even this Justin Jefferson, you're just going to grab, a magnifying glass. Some people use the overhead ones, the ones that are on like a stand, or you can just grab a little handheld one. You're going to look at it, and you're just going to see, move it in and out, see what you can. This one actually has a little bit of a light, which is kind of nice because you can kind of see all the little scratches if you have to, any dimples. It kind of makes it a little easier as you move it around. You can kind of see what you need to. So just little things you can kind of find as you're doing this stuff. And you're just trying to find, you don't want to have anything with a scratch in it. Print lines are bad in a lot of cards. Flaking, chipping, anything like that. You're always just looking to make sure you're sending off the best card. So like I said, this will be pretty much the end for episode 2. Like I said, I'm just trying to help you guys out as much as possible. It's just little things. I see people when I'm watching grading submission reveals, and people have no idea what they're looking for when it comes to centering and all that. Take your time. If you're going to spend the money to send a card out, do your homework and kind of figure it out. Hope this helped some. We got one more episode to go, and it's going to be the actual prep of a card. So how do you, what are you going to do to it? You're probably going to use one of these or something kind of paper towel, something similar. Some microfiber cloth. You're probably going to want some penny sleeves, which are kind of standard in this. And are you going to use top loaders? No. Throw the top loaders away for when you're going in for a grading submission. You're probably going to use something like this. So we're going to go over all that stuff on the next episode. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Check out episode 1 of this. Make sure you stay around for episode 3. I'll probably release that next week. And for Eric from the bench, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.